Holi from Silence Speaks. Tomorrow is the day of Holi festival. There is a great participation in colors and gulal revelries. The enthusiasm of the participants might have started from today itself. But brother, who are these? They are the people whose temperament is inclined towards play. But brother, has it ever happened that some others who don't participate are the persons whose inclination is mostly towards it, and the onlookers or bystanders are also charmed by the colorful form it offers? I think that it would certainly be so, but to whom? Those who are admirers of color. If our inclination does not admire it, then we must try for it. You will say that those who have eyes to see can very well distinguish between black, yellow, blue colors, etc. I would say this that as long as the eyes bear the power of distinction between black, yellow, blue colors, etc., which is the real aspect of the color, it cannot be called to have discrimination, real knowledge about colors. So long as there is variety in inclination, one does not give due respect to color. Now, brother, I am unable to comprehend as to whether the Holi comes to get the colors distinguished, or is it the manifestation of his craftsmanship? You may decide it yourself. If you ask me, then my brief reply to it would be that one must become colorless while playing with colors. Now, if somehow I too get affected by the colors of Holi, then my reply to it would be part pheasant, part tried, and a mixture of coherence and incoherence, like that of a drunkard. What shall that be? The meaning of whole, which is an English word, is total. It therefore means that if we have linked ourselves to the whole ultimate, then certainly the same view should appear before vision. It therefore follows that if we got ourselves linked to the ultimate, then the color of the same ultimate shall pari passu prevail in us, and if perchance we become unaware of that link by maintaining it repeatedly, then please tell me what would be your form or shape thereafter. The same state of mergence which we are in search of. What a good thing it would be if we learn this lesson from Holi.
What do you understand from this, Dharmesh?
So I'm trying to think. So one thing is, as long as we have the choice and the inclination related to various colors, that I like blue or I like red or thing, is we don't have the discrimination. So we have to rise above our inclination or the liking, disliking of the color. That is one part.
Oh, there's a sentence picture. Jao thoda. First page. He says, if our inclination does not identify, then we must try for it. That means we should not get identified with colors. That is the idea. If our inclination does not admire it, then we must try for it. So we should not get identified with colors. That is the idea. That means identified with our prejudices, likes and dislikes, raga, dvesha. All these are all are the colors through which the mind operates. Your mind operates through the color of caste, color of religion, color of sect, color of class. All these things are colors. Mind has acquired a colorful disposition, and the mind sees through these glasses. It doesn't see. I mean, if I'm looking at you, I'll have a clear view of you. But suppose I put on a glass which is blue in color or yellow in color, you will appear blue to me. In the same way, we have prejudices in us. And as long as this prejudice is there, we have not learned the correct lesson from the festival of Holi. Anyway, let's go ahead, please.
There was something I was trying to understand. This now, if somehow I do get affected by the colors of Holi, then my reply to it would be part pheasant, part right, and a mixture of coherence and incoherence like that of a drunkard.
That means the pheasant is a kind of a bird, partridge is a kind of both colorful birds, one with a long tail. So suppose you mix both of them, which as a species doesn't exist, which is you're like a drunkard. You shout abuses somebody if you're drunk, and tomorrow next morning you ask him why you shouted at me. He doesn't remember because he's in a drunken state. It doesn't affect you. That's the meaning. If I'm playing colors, I'm not conscious of it. That is the idea. That means you're participating in the manifestation. You're just like the duck which is swimming in the pond. When it comes out of the water, not a drop touches the wings of that duck or this thing, swan or whatever. So he's saying his condition is like that. That is what I
did. You are not affected by it.
Naturally, that's what.
Okay. And here, so what we need to do is, right, if we got ourselves linked to the ultimate, then the color of the same ultimate shall peripasso prevail in us, and if perchance we become unaware of that link by maintaining it repeatedly, that is more realization. Right?
No, what is happening, like suppose in the morning you have meditated, in the morning you're using your thought force to think about the divine light in your heart. And if you sustain that thought force on that, then, slowly the link will become stronger and stronger. And by repeated remembrance of this thing, then a stage comes when you, by maintaining it repeatedly, then what happens? You become unaware of that link. Like आदमी को 20 साल से headache है समझो, he will not complain about it because he becomes unaware of it, just like that. So something like that, you get the mind gets, what is called acclimatized to that, and then doesn't feel that which was felt when the change happens. Like you come into a AC room from a hot weather, you immediately feel cold and chill. But if you stay for half an hour, you don't feel that chill because you get acclimatized. So in the same way, when your mind is absorbed in the divine master, and then you repeatedly try to retain that state of mind, it gets acclimatized, and then a stage comes when you become unaware of that connection actually. That is pure margins, that the fourth state which we call Saijyata, the Samipyata, Salokyata, Sarupyata and Saijyata. So that thing comes actually. That is the central theme of yoga, no? All your various stages of progress, go through these 4 stages, and their unawareness also will be there. You become unaware of that link. That is the idea.
There are a few places where Master mentions, right, in Path of Grace, that there is a forgetfulness of the Master at certain high
That's what,
stages.
when we, in the training program, when we talk about stages of progress, we talk about the 4 stages of four stages through which the condition of the mind changes. First you become aware, and then you become more confident. Then finally you forget about it also. That's how about it. So your connection with Master, your love with Master also is forgotten. It is no more felt in your mind actually. Initially it will be felt, it matures, and then a stage comes when mergence happens. That feeling of love for the Master, devotion for the Master is also not felt. So that is what he's mentioning here. He says, if therefore follows that if we got ourselves linked to the ultimate, then the color of the same ultimate shall pariparsu prevail in us. And if perchance we become, that means you start seeing God everywhere. That means here pariparsu prevail everywhere means you must remember the centenary celebration idea. The feeling of the thought of remembrance starts oozing out from objects everywhere. So, and you can remember the song of Kabir who talks about tu ka tu, wherever you are in the ant, you are in the elephant, you are in the mahot, sitting in the elephant, you are the beggar, and the person who is giving money to that beggar is also you. You are the chore, and then the police fellow is trying to catch you is also you. Everywhere he sees you. That is the idea. So if you are firmly linked to the ultimate, then the color of the same ultimate shall pariparsu prevail in us. That is the idea. Same view should appear before the vision. That is the idea actually. Okay.
Yeah. Will you please give me a chance to congratulate you on the occasion of Holi? Brother, it was merely a fun of Holi. And what else can I do? Whatever has been my nature, a tint, fragrance of it is still present. And what is that condition? In rural language, I would say this: whether I be standing, sitting, lying down, or in any pose whatsoever, I am always at the same point, the base. That means the base or the destination must never go out of our mind. We must ever keep our base in mind. The destination can only be arrived at by him who has become crazy and mad after it. I do not find any other method better than this. Whoever has made progress in this field has adopted this very course. Whoever becomes mad after someone, then it is just not possible that the latter's madness may not make him, the former, restless. Brother, when pain is there, the cure would also come. We have to create pain in our heart. If someone asks me, I would say that all the labor, practices, and abhyas is aimed at this only. Will that time come when I will also be able to see such burning hearts? Definitely, it must come when you develop feeling like mine. That is, when you become eagerly impatient to acquire all those states which I am restless to impart now. Brother, it may be possible with my love for you that the restless craving for my master may bear fruit and create similar intensity in your heart. There is a famous adage that when a widow touches the feet of a woman whose husband is alive, then she wishes that the latter may also become like her. What else could you get from me except this? You take this thing from me, and the rest will be bestowed by the Master God. main thing is telling here is to have that pain, the madness to reach the goal.
That's it.
I think this is, I'm just thinking over that. Whether I be standing, sitting, lying down, or in any pose, I'm always at the same point.
The idea is that he is absorbed in the consciousness of God. That's all. 24 hours. That's it. Living in God, for God, by God. That is the idea.
Any questions? Then I'll play this colorlessness and I will share this screen.
Talk delivered in February 2008 on the occasion of the seminar, One Must Become Colorless While Playing with Colors, printed in Bodhyanti Parasparam Volume 8, Chapter 1.
The topic of the seminar is drawn from the article Holi. This statement of the Master is in fact informing us an aspect of the nature of Master. All Masters and all ordinary beings are nothing but their one mind. One may even call the original show in expression. We may for all our purposes consider this mind as beginningless and endless, unborn and indestructible, as at any point of experience or imperience we do not seem to be away from it. Though in the metaphysics that Master gives us, this is not so. It has no color or shape. It neither exists nor does not exist. It is neither old nor new, neither long nor short, not large or not small, since it includes and also transcends all measures, limits, names, conceptions, and comparisons. It is what we see in front of us all the time. The universal mind, I mean. Holi is a festival of colors, when there is a great participation in colors and connected revelries. Master states the persons who engage in this revelry are those whose temperament is inclined towards place. Most people are interested in externalities, and play is an act dealing with external things, situations, and people. There are good plays and bad plays, and each one of them is played by the persons of such temperament. There are also mutual conflicts and appreciations and confabulations varying in degree according to the level of persons in transaction. These persons are never tired of playing, and Holi is a time when their play reaches a pinnacle of excitement. We may say it is mostly the Rajasic temperament of a group of persons in full swing. Those who do not participate in this merry activity we may think are detached and sattvic, but Master states these bystanders are also charmed by the colorful form the play offers. Perhaps they engage in the play in a vicarious manner, and the play is enjoyed in the mental sphere as contrasted to the physical plane in which it is played. It is similar to the viewers of TV or those who are in the stands of cricket stadium watching the game. Undoubtedly, these persons are very much involved and excited in the game, even as the actual players. We are having amongst us persons who belong to the playful temperament and the so-called involved or detached observers. That speaks of their viveka and the level of their frivolous activities. but all these activities are colored, and they may be orange, yellow, blue, black, etc. So long as a person has not moved out of the Pindadesh, that person will play these colors and colorful activities. It is to be noted that the mind along with the faculties of perception are involved in these activities. Master states that as long as the eyes bear the power of distinction between black, yellow, blue colors, etc., which is the real aspect of the color, it, in the brackets right eye, cannot be called to have discrimination or real knowledge about colors. This we know as a discrepancy of perception. So long as there is a variety in inclination, one does not give due respect to color. Therefore, Babuji raises a question here saying, I am unable to comprehend as to whether the Holi comes to get the colors distinguished or is it the manifestation of his craftsmanship. And he says to the Abhyasi, to whom this letter was sent, you may decide it yourself. The point is, are we celebrating the beauty of the craftsmanship of God or just engaged in silly color mudslinging at each other? Master in the message given on the centenary celebrations of Revered Lalaji Maharaj says that purity starts from being and impurities are the result of wrong suggestions and improper utilization of the inner environment. When all these are combined, a narrowness of view is effected, and this is one of the factors for creating a sort of confusion, sometimes automatically and sometimes forced by circumstances. When all these things are accumulated, they bring different colors. This affects the lower part of the mind, which gives direction to the higher part. Now your direction is not correct. When we contemplate on these lines, we understand how we see things in our own choice of colors. Every one of us has his own pair of colored glasses. It is only when we can control and moderate the impulses of the lower mind we can be said to have moved out of the range of the pair of glasses, prejudices. The task requires, as we all know, our individual efforts and the influence of pranahuti received from the trainer. Master states that whether I be standing, sitting, lying down or any pose whatsoever, I am always at the same point, the base. He therefore suggests that while one may be engaged in the festivities, one should be in touch with the base. He says that means the base or the destination must never go out of our mind. We must ever keep our base in mind. The destination can only be arrived at by him who has become crazy and mad after it. I do not find any other method better than this. Whoever has made progress in this field has adopted this very pose. Whoever becomes mad after someone, then it is just not possible that the latter's madness may not make him, the former, restless. When pain is there, the cure would also come. We have to create pain in our heart. If someone asks me, I would say that all the labor, practices and abhyas is aimed at this only. Will that time come when I will also be able to see such burning hearts? Definitely, it must come. When you develop feelings like mine, that is when you become eagerly impatient to acquire all those states which I am restless to impart now. I am very sure that many amongst us here in this august gathering have been restless to acquire higher states of consciousness and continue to acquire still higher states and moving nearer to the never-ending state of negation, even as a seeker to whom this letter was addressed by the Master. For the question as to how one should be in the realm of colors, he said his brief reply to it would be that one must become colorless while playing with colors. We know that the realm of Pindadesh is that of colors, and that of the regions beyond is colorlessness. Holi is the festival of colors and is connected with Lord Krishna. The Lord is supposed to have participated in that festival with gusto. Colorfulness is a product of our mind. Master states that the simple unassuming character of mind has changed in the march of times and has assumed a colorful disposition and begun to shed its effect on everything in us, both outer and inner. Whatever, therefore, we take into thought or action exhibits colorfulness in all its phases. However, we know that we are all involved in the process of developing the unity of perception and living according to the principles of the natural path. Master states that the most peculiar feature of our society is that when it is in full bloom, it is all covered over with a desolateness, which further on gets transformed into wilderness. For this reason, it is devoid of any charm or attraction. If I describe it as something pleasant, it will then be tasteless one. How can a professed seeker of eternal bliss, Paramananda, who is addicted to coloration, at each step be attracted towards it? This condition can be appreciated only by one who, having gone mad with love, wanders about wailing and crying for what he knows not. In such a state, one would be feeling the same condition even though he happened to be amidst festivities and revelries. As for myself, wherever I happen to be, the entire surroundings there are covered over with an air of desolation on account of my presence there. A humorist might well interpret it in funny ways, but perhaps that alone can be the most appropriate description of my condition. Really, the thing at the root gets exposed when the colorful disposition of the mind is transformed. When the material world is out of view, the thought naturally settles down on the other one. But this colorless of mind may not be much appreciable to most people, except to those who have become accustomed to it through constant association. Should we therefore take for granted to have such a condition because of our alleged association with him, or because we coo his name very often, and more particularly when we see his photographs? It is obvious that constant association with him would be possible and true to those who have gone beyond the Pindidish, and when we go on and on through different conditions, casting off for assumed coloring, till finally we become quite colorless. It should be remembered of the four colors of the first four cards is what is mentioned here by the Master. Master further states, now if somehow I too get affected by the colors of the Holi, then my reply to it would be part peasant and part partridge, a mixture of coherence and incoherence like that of a drunkard. If we have linked ourselves to the whole, then certainly the same view should appear before our vision. It therefore follows that if we get ourselves linked to the ultimate, then the color of the same ultimate shall pari passu prevail in us, and if perchance we become unaware of that link by maintaining it repeatedly, then please tell me what would be your form or share thereafter, the same state of emergence which we are in search of. What a good thing it would be if we learn this lesson from Holi. It may be mentioned that there is a story relating to the festival Holi. It appears that the legendary Hiranyakashipu had a sister by name Holika. She has a siddhi by which she can sit on the fire and remain unburnt. As a part of the various tactics used by the Asura to kill his son Prahlada, he asked his sister to hold his son on her lap and sit on fire, hoping that his son will get burned and there will be no damage to his sister. But Prahlada survived and Holika got burnt. The festival is celebrated to reassure that one who has surrendered cannot be destroyed by Asuric persons like Holika. It may be seen here that the element of fire, which refers to the third knot, and control over that is a siddhi due to devotion, can be burnt, but the one who has surrendered to the divine, that is a person established in the fourth knot, will survive the element of fire and move on to the realm of air. The value of a diamond is well known, and justifiably we from Andhra Pradesh can take pride in stating that Golconda is a place where we have found the first big diamond. We all know that it is not the color of the diamond that grants its value, but its colorlessness. In fact, grading color in the normal range involves deciding how closely a stone's body color approaches colorlessness. A diamond can divide light into a spectrum of colors and reflect this light as colorful flashes called fire. It is persons who have entrenched deeply in the superconsciousness of the highest variety that emit or fire colors according to the need of the aspirants in their system in the centers related to the various colors. It may be said, even as the colorlessness of the diamond gives rise to the range of the colors, the non-conscious consciousness grants us various shades of consciousness and colors in our march to infinity. Colors play extraordinary tricks on the mind. Play with the colors in the context of spirituality is bound to be an interesting study by itself. Black is associated with Sufis and goddess Kali, orange with sadhus and sannyasis, white with Jains, nuns and Christian preachers, yellow with the robes of Lord Krishna himself, ash with Lord Shiva, blue with Mahavishnu, and so on. This should be enough indication for those who seek colorlessness to avoid the association of these men and demigods and gods. It is obvious that the polar opposite of positive mystical color imagery is colorlessness. Color is the characteristic of the individual, where colorlessness is the characteristic of the universal. This is the obvious for us. As we transcend the realm of Prindadesh, we enter into the realms of colorlessness, though certain times the individuality of the sadhaka persists and we have visions colored with pink or ruby. We find that human civilization has always programmed happiness through sexual freedom and drugs and drinks, including the Vedic soma, which are supposed to create feelings of euphoria. Scent and color objects and music provide momentary pictures on our mind, exciting virtual and unreal and imaginary visions. That is the reason why many persons indulge in colors. Selection of garments is a classic example where those who are interested in colors indulge in excitement and never end that game. That is perhaps the reason why those who are seeking colorlessness eschew bright primary color imagery in favor of dull hues which border on colorlessness. It is because of this criteria of colorlessness of the spiritual plane, application of religious thought in this plane becomes virtually impossible. Spiritual societies therefore forbid noise, including that of music, as the members seek silence. Silence is the auditory version of colorlessness. We may recall that Master forbade all music during celebrations, except at the end the recital of Marifat, a song in praise of revered Lalaji Maharaj for having given us a Master who is a personification of love. He is silence, which is always emitting the colorlessness of spiritual presence. Anyone who tries to get into such a state of silence all on his own will never find the way towards that. The aspirant has to learn that he or she has to put a full stop to the conceptual thinking to which one is accustomed to, and it is then the Master appears in the scene, his presence being felt as eloquent silence. That is a state when the consciousness pure and simple reigns, as we all know, during the deep states of meditation, when neither we nor he is there. That is Sri Ramchandra consciousness. It is then, whether it is our state or his state, does not matter, and it is all the same, and that is laya or mergence. It is when we are inspired by the great purpose of the Master, who is laboring hard to bring in transformation of the human nature and partake in that extraordinary project, all our personal and selfish and self-centered thoughts break their bounds. Dormant forces, faculties and talents become alive, and we discover ourselves to be a greater person by far than we ever dreamed ourselves to be. It is true, even then adverse circumstances test our courage, our strength of mind, and the depth of our conviction in the dharma propounded by the great Master Sri Ramchandraji Maharaj of Shahjahanpur, India. There is nothing exceptional about practicing this path of dharma in a good environment and atmosphere. The true test is if we can maintain our practice in adverse conditions. That is possible when we are totally colorless in an otherwise colorful atmosphere. Being colorless when we remain firmly committed to the faultless path of the Master. 2. Take refuge at the feet of the incomparable One. 3. Take refuge in the ocean of bliss of the gracious One. We are rewarded with a long and joyous life of dedication to the noblest cause that the Master cherishes and humanity yearns for. Master states that Satyapada itself is a science for which one may not be well fitted unless he develops the capacity to perceive nature with his inner eye. We know that the inner eye gets vision from the heart, while physical eyes feed the mind with all its colors. It is the colorlessness that the heart knows. The natural path is lighted by such colorlessness of the heart. Broader the spread of such inner light, the nobler are the visions. That is what meditation on light without luminosity grants, and that is wisdom. Such is reward and destiny. By following the principle, one must become colorless while playing with colors. Pranam.
Any other questions of this thing?
So if we see colors during meditation, does that mean we are in Pindadesh?
On your march towards the goal, you have to go through what are called the chakras. I mean, those centers of power where your mind got twisted, and then there's a whirl-like force is there. And when you start meditating, the whirling dissolves, and then you move through those whirls into higher stages. And as you move through that, you'll feel certain colors. So it indicates that you are in that particular this thing. If you read Towards Infinity or Path of Grace, it's all details are given there. Which color is associated with which note and all that. Like the first note, you have orange to red color. I mean, this thing, yellow to orange color, like that. So our body is composed of these elements like earth, water, fire, air, and space. So whole macrocosm is represented in our physical body. So when you understand that your body is composed of elements, and then that elements are held together by the power of God, and then you realize that thing, then the attachment to the body also, you let it go, and then you start moving into what is called universal consciousness, where you let go of your attachment to your name and let go of your attachment to the physical body also. So like that, then the colors will not be available. You will not feel colors once you move into the universal consciousness. That is the system's this thing. This is a path where you travel actually.
There is this explanation in Sir's paper which gives a hint of understanding that adage that when a widow touches the feet of a woman, the husband is alive, how the latter wishes that she become like her. Okay. So the purport of this sentence is the condition of a widow is desolate, loneliness, and when a widow, it's not considered auspicious that a widow touches the feet. In North India, that is what Shilpi's mother actually told during that seminar.
Yes.
It's considered inauspicious that a widow touches the feet of a husband, of a woman whose husband is alive, because she wishes that the other may become like her. So when we were reading Sir's article, there is a passage where Master describes that condition, and let me read that. The most peculiar feature of our society is that when it is in full bloom, it is all covered over with desolateness, which further on gets transformed into wilderness. For this reason, it is devoid of any charm or attraction. If I describe it as something pleasant, it will then be a tasteless state. How can a professed seeker of eternal bliss, Paramananda, who is addicted to coloration each step, be attracted towards it? There is a question mark there. This condition can be appreciated only by one who, having gone mad with love, wanders about wailing and crying for what he knows not. In such a state, one would be feeling the same condition, even though he happened to be amid festivities and revelries. As for myself, wherever I happen to be, the surroundings there are covered over with an air of desolation on account of my presence there. A humorist might well interpret it in funny ways, but perhaps that alone can be the most appropriate description of my condition. So the example he has given is just as a parallel. A widow's condition is like this, and no one wants this condition. But I think he has made that statement that if at all we seek blessing from a person having that condition, then that
Vidyadhar, there is another sentence which gives us strength. He says, if you are repeatedly associated with that condition, then you develop a liking for that.
Correct. No, what I'm saying is,
for example, he says,
I'm trying to understand that adage in the context of this message.
Yeah, that's what he says when Babuji asked Lalaji, you have worked so hard, I have also worked so hard. You gave me this condition. Is this the condition? Is this the state of realization? And then he asks him. Lalaji says, okay, if I will take out this condition, he says, should I take out this condition for 1 minute? He says, no, even for 1 second you cannot remove. I will allow myself to be cut into 1,000 pieces, but I don't want to lose this condition. That's the description he gives somewhere else. Right. So the repeated association with the condition only will develop what is called vairagya, or distaste for the material world. So it's a very advanced condition. It's not easy. Then only your liberation is there.
Right. What I'm saying is,
I understood the point. You wanted to convey desolateness with the desire of the widow, actually. That Shilpi's mother spoke very well about that. Yes.
Right. And in fact, I didn't complete this. At the end, last sentence says, when the material world is out of view, the thought naturally settles down on the other one. But this colorlessness of mind may not be much appreciable to most people, except to those who have become accustomed to it through constant association.
Yeah.
So that one is actually marked in bold, except to those who have become accustomed to it through constant association. So our association with Master makes us desolate from a worldly point of view, but that is the real thing that seekers should aspire for.
Yeah, that's true. The idea is that when people look into life, when you see so many wars and diseases and suffering, and then kind of dissatisfaction with life, a permanent sense of dissatisfaction in life, then you want to get out of that. You look for a permanent condition where happiness is available unconditionally. And for that, you know that if you are attracted to the material things in the world, or name or fame or whatever it is, they're not permanent, and then there's no chance of you getting a permanent this thing. So true peace of mind, which is neither peace nor non-peace, is only possible when you feel a feeling of distaste for material things in the world, which is otherwise called as vairagya. So that is a very advanced condition which keeps on developing if we have faith. When the faith finally matures, then you feel that God is the essence of all bliss and happiness. When that feeling becomes very firm, then only the distaste then you when a diamond is there and a few pebbles are there, you would like to get hold of the diamond, no? And you throw away the pebbles. So it comes with practice. That's the thing. So that is true. Though Babuji says Viveka and Vairagya are preliminary attainments, it is like if you see Sir's article on Viveka, it keeps on maturing up to the 13th knot actually. Towards the end, he wrote this article actually about Viveka. A little bit of, since I'm a doctor, I'm interested in neuroscience, I'll just give you some information which may help you to think in a spiritual sense. Like color is actually, there's no such thing called color existing in reality actually. It is a construction by the brain, and then it is a concept like blue or violet or red is a concept. It's a social concept which the brain constructs actually. What we have is only 400 to 600 wavelength of electromagnetic radiation hits the eye. And then the brain, for the brain, it is a meaningless data actually. It constructs a meaning out of it. And that meaning is actually the concept of red or blue or violet. So actually there will be no color in the brain, neither there will be color outside in the objects. It is the mind creates this concept of red or blue or yellow when the world comes in contact with the mind actually. So actually this is called vikshepa, the projective power of the mind. Mind projects reality outside. So when we do meditation, this concept formation stops. Sir also alluded to that idea. Then you stop producing simulations and concepts and the mind becomes extremely still and quiet actually. So, but the intuition says that color really residing outside there. It is, even on scientific grounds, nobody accepts it. Raghavan, ఉన్నావు కదా neuroscience student నువ్వు.
అవునండి తింటున్నాను. So actually, I mean, what sir is trying to say, actually, I mean, when there is a wavelength which hits your eye and then eventually it is only turned into a...
It is not turned. Brain constructs a concept actually, and it projects that outside. So that is this thing, and then it is, and this construction is based on the social environment in which you are embedded. Suppose you are born in some other country where blue is called black or blue is called white, then the brain says this is white color.
Yeah.
So the brain constructs for its interaction to live successfully in this world.
Yeah. So
actually, in reality, there will be no such thing called color actually.
Yeah. So
even in the brain also there will be no color. If you dissect and then you see whether red is there, it will not be there. Yeah. Outside also it will not be there. It is just some wavelengths are hitting, just like sound waves they are hitting. They are all meaningless data which the brain makes meaning out of it. Right. That's why children, they don't have concepts actually. Very quickly they learn concepts. Anyway, we'll stop here. It's an endless topic. Anyway.
Because if you see that way, I think everything is just an electrical signal conduction only.
No, point I wanted to make you understand is it is called the Vikshepa power of the mind. Mind has got Sattva, Raja and Tamoguna. Sattva is balance. Vikshepa means it's a projecting power of the mind. So all our the concept of individuality or ego is because of the mind projects, or mind thinks about our past and thinks about our future, worries about past and worries about future, or broods about the past. That's all projection by the mind. And if the projection stops, then you're liberated actually. So the thinking has to stop. The thinking has to become quiet. That means, as Sir says, when you're absorbed in the divine, there'll be eloquent silence only. There'll be only silence in your mind. And then you're liberated actually. He has written somewhere eloquent silence.
Yeah, he says some stillness. So you
No. Silence and chepped kada. In the same article it is there.
Yeah, eloquent, sir.
You read that sentence, eloquent silence kapado.
Anyone who tries to get into such a state of silence all on his own will never find the way towards that. The aspirant has to learn that she has to put a full stop to the conceptual thinking.
बोलते हुए concept formation ही बंद हो जाना चाहिए. That is also discussed in Nirvitarka Samadhi. I mean, your name and your projection on the object, ye good hai, bad hai, this rose is beautiful, this, all those are concepts you're projecting outside. So you have to stop conceptual thinking, to which one is accustomed to, and it is then that master appears in the scene, his presence being felt as eloquent silence. That's the idea. So if you by chance get into that state of tranquility or sham, you should use all your efforts to see that it is maintained continuously. Okay, then we'll meet next Sunday.